Hey everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day. I've got a couple of packages here, so we're gonna have a mailbag. First one, I've got two that are related here, I think. And I sort of went on a little shopping spree with one eBay vendor. Yeah, you can see a couple things there. I'm gonna go ahead and get them all open and we'll take a look. Let's see here. This vendor just had some cheap things that I thought would be kind of nice to order. They weren't really supposed to get here until January, but they got here early. So let's take a look at these items. The first one is to solve a problem. A lot of the vintage stuff I do has, and I hope this is the right direction, a lot of the vintage stuff I do has still has ATX power supplies. Whenever possible, if I have something vintage and I can power it with either an AT style power supply or an ATX style power supply, I try to use AT. And that's not going to work. So this first item does look like a mistake order. What I was thinking about is these ATX style power supplies that only had 20 pin connectors. Your common new ones have 24 pin connectors. One of the issues is you can actually plug the 24 pin connector into the 20 pin connector with just having these two off to the side. Now the problem is some of the older power supplies, these four ground pins over here, were able to be split off. And that wasn't a problem. But if you had a 24 pin like this one that didn't split off, a lot of times there would be a capacitor right next to the 20 pin connector. And so you wouldn't be able to plug it in because the capacitor would get in the way. And so what I was hoping, and I just made a goof, and maybe I've got the right one around here somewhere, but what I was hoping for, I'll leave that in there, was that this was going to be a 20 pin female. So I'll have to check my my order. But what I wanted was to be able to plug a 20 pin in here and then plug my ATX power supply in here. But as you can see, I have the wrong direction on both of them. So that is not going to work for me. But these were like $1 something each, if I'm not mistaken. I may find a use for them if I ever want to put a 20 pin power supply into a 24 pin motherboard. I guess that could be handy, but I don't know. So anyway, I think I got ripped off on those by my own fault, of course. The next one is a couple of these. I used to have tons of them, but I just happened to be running short. And these are Molex splitters, so that you can take one, let's just say hard drive style Molex connector, the 4-pin Molex connector, and split it out into 3, which is really handy. I have some ones that'll split into 2, but 3 is really nice. So I got a couple of these. Again, they were like $1 a piece. Scuzzy cables, things like that, bunches of Molex type things. Let's go to this one, see what this is. I have no idea what this one is. I'm not going to cut it too hard because there could be something in there. Okay, this is another one of those, packaged separately. Same deal though. Male on this side into 3 females. So hook 3 drives into 1 power connector. And last but not least, we have this, which is another thing I've been wanting. This was only about $2. This, ooh, that did not survive the shipping. I'm gonna have to do something about that. The idea of this is that I can put a compact flash card in here and power, and I can actually take this thing and put it right into the pin header. I guess I have one right here, right into the pin header on a motherboard. So I could, let's see, is this damaged on this side too? Let's try here. That must be something blocked. Yeah, there's one blocked here. Yeah, that's a problem all around. But the idea would be that I would be able to plug this thing straight into the motherboard, put a compact flash card in here instead of an old IDE hard drive. But I'm going to be contacting the eBay seller and see if I can get this replaced, because I think if I straighten those pins, I stand a chance of that pin breaking off inside the actual compact flash card. So overall, I paid a couple bucks for all these things, but I'm going to be doing some reordering. Next up, we have something that I have absolutely no idea what it is. I think I just cut into the packing material. So this one, yeah, okay, great. This is some barrel jack couplers. And the reason why I got these is because I have this magnifying lamp that has a light on it, but for some unknown reason, I'll get the power cord in view, the power cord is a male. And if you think about it, you know, all of those DC power bricks you have are going to have a male on the other side. So what happened was the power brick that came with this thing had a female, and that whole power brick just busted up into little pieces. So what I want to do is take this, and then I'm going to put a standard power brick, a 12-volt power brick in here, and this coupler will allow me to hook this light back up without having to hack this thing apart. Especially, this is something I use in my office. It gets moved around a lot. So although I could probably solder, I could cut this and solder the other barrel jack on there, I decided I wanted it to be a little bit better. So I just decided to gender change this barrel jack right here. Next up, we have another mystery package here. Let's open this up and see what we got. Make sure my address isn't in there. Okay, Retro HS. Let's take a look at this. So what we have here is something from Retro Hack Shack, and this thing is called the RGBtoHD. And the idea of it is designed to go on top of a Raspberry Pi Zero. Now this is a 0W. I don't think you need the wireless for it. But the idea of this is, I'm gonna have to solder some headers, is that this thing should fit on top of here and allow me to add something, I hope this is the right one, but something like this 9-pin male adapter to where, I'm not gonna attach it right now, but something along the lines of going into here, and this would go into the computer, and then I would be able to use the HDMI from the Raspberry Pi Zero in order to output video from an EGA or CGA computer to a VGA or HDMI monitor. Now, the reason why that's important is because it's pretty difficult right now to find working EGA and CGA monitors, and they're going bad all the time and all that kind of stuff, but we obviously have tons of HDMI devices. So if you can find a reliable way to convert EGA and CGA, then you can keep these computers going without having to worry about keeping old CRT monitors alive. And so I also got this little case that came with it, and I'm going to make a separate video on this. I'm going to play with this. I'm not going to try to do it in a mailbag, but I'll let you guys know how this works. I also have another product that I've been working with to try to get reliable EGA and CGA out to VGA monitors. So anyway, this is going to be a work in progress for me. Probably something I'll mess around with over Christmas break. And next up, we have something that's packed really well. I'm going to the bottom of the package so I don't show my address. Oh, fun. Okay, not what I was expecting. So these things are little offset standoffs that are commonly used in the arcade industry, but I think that they could be pretty handy for normal makers. And the idea of them, Simple Electronics offered to help me make some of these in CAD, and so they could be 3D printed, and that may wind up being a good idea. But these things already had some inserts inside of them and came with screws, and I remember them being relatively cheap. But the idea is, I don't have a screwdriver right in front of me, but the idea is that you can attach something like a motherboard or any kind of PCB to the standoffs and then screw the whole thing down with something a little bit beefier. And you know, it gives you, so you're not going to short anything out, you're not going to bend the motherboard or torque the motherboard as you're screwing it down, because you can put these standoffs out there and they're kind of offset. So kind of a neat little thing. These are pretty cheap. I think they were like 20 cents a piece, and they come with the screws and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure you'll be seeing them in more projects going forward.